Welcome to Political Beatdown. I'm Ben Meiselas, joined by Michael Cohen. We've got a lot to discuss. Earlier in the morning, Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth were at Quantico. They summoned all of the top military generals and admirals. Several hundred were in the room, and then Donald Trump started saying that, this is about a war within, that your missions will focus on invading American cities. He listed cities that he is already invading and wants to invade. He talked about Los Angeles, Chicago. He mentioned San Francisco. He told the military generals essentially that Democrats don't like you and they're the enemy. And, it was a speech that in normal times would be the end of a presidency immediately. Like done. Like that's just not what an American president is. And, in our news cycle, it's like Donald gave another speech. Okay. But here on the Midas Touch Network and on Political Beatdown, we're not glossing over what that was, because that was the speech of a Kim Jong-un and a deranged authoritarian. So you had that. Then Donald Trump held the press conference in the Oval Office, and he was asked by a reporter, what do you mean that Democrats want to fund? Like this was the only reporter who asked the right question. Like, what do you mean that Democrats want to give $1.5 trillion to illegal immigrants and that's what they want for the shutdown? Like, what do you mean by that? Because federal law prevents that. So it's not allowed to happen. So explain. So, lots of people, Cohen, are like, and you've said it before, I've said it before, we want the press to push back, right? Push back and ask that. But Jeremy, if we've got that clip, let's start off by showing that one right there, which is you're in the Oval Office. The reporter says they are not eligible for healthcare subsidies. So can you clarify what you're talking about when you say Democrats want to protect their healthcare? Just so you know, when you push back at Trump, this is the reaction you get. Here, let's play that clip if we got it, Jeremy.
Time for that.
They're not eligible for the health care subsidies that Democrats are demanding. So can you clarify, what are you talking about when you say Democrats want to protect their health care?
So when an illegal person comes in, a person who came into our country illegally, therefore breaking the law, and look, we all have big hearts. I have a bigger heart than you do. They're all breaking the law, and they're coming into our country. And we just, as a country, cannot afford to take care of millions of people who have broken the law coming in. We want them to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally. Now we have a strong border, very strong border, thanks to Christie and Tom Homan and the whole group. They've done an amazing job at the border. I mean, we had a border that was reckless. We had a border that was a disaster. They were coming in by the millions. I say 25 million people. You're saying less, but I say 25 million people came in illegally. And no system can take care of the health care of all of those people that came in.
So let me toss it over to you, Cohen, because that's just so you know, like that's an example, right? She misstated. She's like that Democrats are not demand. I think she misspoke though. Democrats are not demanding that, but that's how she asked the question. But she pushed back on him and said it's illegal to give those funds to migrants. And then Donald Trump spent 60 seconds of that answer just going on, my heart's bigger than your heart. Your heart.
And while he's telling you how big his heart is, then you have Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz, sitting behind him, shaking his head. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. This is obviously one of the big problems. There is a real Republican machine that's out there. And no matter what the topic is, no matter what they will tell you that I don't even know what the hell do you call it, where Pete Hegseth was bouncing around on the stage like Tony Robbins, like trying to give a pep rally to people who far outrank him, who actually know what they're doing, and they are then being told by somebody who is militarily inferior to them what they need to do and how they need to act. It's almost like, Ben, my dad is retired now, but he's a head and neck reconstructive surgeon, an otolaryngologist. Imagine he's in the OR and he's being told by a resident, how he needs to conduct himself, because that's the exact same thing that happened today. You're getting Hegseth sitting there and lecturing you, telling them, if you're a woman, you shouldn't be doing this. If you are fat, if you can't pass basic, if you have facial hair. I mean, this could have been one of the stupidest things I have ever seen anybody do. I'm so tired. Ben, you and I talk about this all the time. I speak to you on a daily basis about how when you go to sleep, you go to sleep with a new chaos. When you wake up, you're waking up to brand new chaos. Every single day, we get flooded with chaos. Do you remember about a week or so ago, I told you within 2 weeks, no one's even going to be talking about Charlie Kirk anymore? When was the last time you heard Charlie Kirk's name even come up? This is the Republican game plan.
And that Republican game plan, I think California Governor Newsom frames the issue accurately. Flood the zone with shit or disinformation, and then bend the reality that exists. And if you, who supports facts and supports democracy, if you try to engage in this dystopian alternate reality, you're already losing, because they've changed the rules of the game. And you're not going to win that game if you're playing within their framework and within their rules. So what you have to do is flood the zone with the truth and with accurate data every single day. And what you have to connect with the American people about is not a political message. It is a message of like principles and values, because the only way you're going to fight back against the disinformation is to try to connect to some basic humanity of human beings and speak to them in that language as you flood the zone with the truth. The moment you turn this into a partisan, they said this, I said this party said this. The moment it looks like a horse race, you're going to lose the horse race if you're Democrats, because MAGA's playing by different rules. You may be on a horse, but they've already taken whatever, and they've stopped the horse from even running to begin.
They're not on the horse anymore, in the Sherman tank. They don't play by the same rules. You know, you're told to come, for example, to one of those jousting contests. So you show up with your horse, you show up with your lance, you got your helmet on, your little chest protector, and next thing they're rolling in with a fucking Sherman tank. I mean,
you see the scene from The Dictator, Sacha Baron Cohen, where he joins the Olympics and he's the dictator, and they're all running the track, and he's not a good runner, but he has all the Olympic runners around him, and they go, and then he's got like the gun, and he just starts shooting the people in their legs behind him, and he's like, I won. That's like playing on MAGA terrain. Like you ain't gonna win that battle. You're not gonna win the Twitter battle where Elon Musk controls the X algorithm. He's going to promote the MAGA stuff. That's the goal. The whole goal of it right now, unfortunately, is it became a MAGA op to spread their disinfo.
And sad enough, right now, we Democrats, we are losing even the messaging war on the shutdown. All you need to hear from every single Republican that goes out, every single one that goes out, they call it the same thing. This is the Schumer shutdown, when nothing could be further from the truth. Their position is you will continue to spread the misinformation, the lie, so often with such conviction that the lie ultimately becomes the truth. You know, Ben, join me here for a second, because I constantly talk to people about Midas Touch Network. I was at NYU today with the cardiologist, and I turned around and I said to him, did you see what I did with Ben, and this was talking about on Thursday, talking about Midas Touch Network? And he turned around and he said, you know, I actually didn't. And I was like, well, you do subscribe. He goes, I do, but I haven't been on it in a while. He goes, I've been super busy. And I understand that, but you need to do it. And everybody needs to help to promote MTN. Why? And the reason is because whether it's 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, it needs to be 60 million. It needs to be so big that it cannot be ignored. Why? Let me show you for a quick second, Ben, because I don't know if you've seen this. Why do I say that we are losing the war when you have Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer come out there? They don't talk like you do. They certainly don't talk like I do. They don't talk like the way Jasmine Crockett or even someone like a Josh Shapiro. They're preaching to you. None of us want to be preached to. We don't want to be lectured to. We want someone that's going to talk to us and talk to us the way that we talk to one another, which is what the Republicans do. They're already out there blaming the entire potential shutdown, which is going to happen in about 8 hours or 7 hours and change. It's on the Democrats. And what have Democrats done? No. You get them coming on, whether it's MSNBC or CNN, and saying, no, this is a Republican. Look at what, for example, Fox, an arm of this government, as far as I'm concerned, look at what they have on the clock running down to the shutdown. Jeremy, you have that picture?
It says Democrat shutdown on it.
All right. Do you see on MSNBC? Do you see on CNN? Do you see anywhere else Republican shutdown? If you are solely a Fox viewer, and sadly there are too many of them, who's responsible for the shutdown? Oh, it's got to be the Democrats. I saw it in the chyron at the bottom of the screen. They put things into people's head and they ram it down your throat so that you don't forget it. And we don't do anything the same. I know we try to do it here. I know you try. I know the brothers try. I know the other assets that you have on this network try. That's why I keep saying, help to promote MTN.
You know, you take a look, though, here at the data. 6 polls, including Rasmussen, which is, you know, Rasmussen's very Republican-leaning, very Trump-leaning. You add Morning Consult, YouGov, Rasmussen, Data for Progress, Navigator, and others. This is what they're saying as of now. And Cohen, an information war, an information battle evolves, right? So this data was what it was yesterday, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be what it is tomorrow. It just says in each of the 6 publicly released national polls asking voters who they'd blame for a government shutdown, Republicans get more of the blame by double-digit margins. The average shows Republicans get more of the blame by about a 15-point margin. Rasmussen has it at 12 points. Now, that's not a data point, though, to get complacent about. And where I agree with you, Cohen, though, is that doesn't necessarily reflect great messaging coming out of Democrats right now. But I think it does actually reflect the one, people are suffering right now, and they're connecting their suffering that they're experiencing, I think, to Donald Trump.
You're
Okay?
100% correct. You're 100%. In fact, you
the
saw
more he talks, actually, he undercuts, to your point, the Schumer shutdown stuff. The Republicans, you're right, are tight with their messaging, right? Like they've got a plan. Fox is part of the plan. They are going to try to overwhelm the zone with that. The riptide, if you will, or what they're got to push against is every time Donald Trump goes out there and speaks, he injects something that is harmful to what that plan is, and they have to constantly adjust to what he's saying. And so when we saw the press conference today, and he's talking about, again, I brought in $17 trillion and this and that, the American people are like, well, if you brought in $17 trillion, then why do you have to cut any government services?
You know
should
why
be funded.
you know why those polls, those 6 polls and so on, why they're showing the numbers? That there's something I talked about in my Substack, which you could read on either MTN or on my own Substack. The reason is because when you're dealing with a government shutdown, and that means that federal workers aren't going to get their money, military people aren't going to get their money, you have Medicare, senior citizens aren't going to get their checks on time. There's going to be a ton of suffering across the board. Shutdowns do not affect Republicans. They don't affect Democrats. They don't affect independents only. They affect all three. Shutdowns don't care about partisanship. All right. And what's going to end up happening is people who are 100% pro-Republican, they are MAGA all the way, when they don't get their check, when you're standing on a line in order to get through security at TSA and your flight is delayed by 3 hours because they don't have enough people in the tower, or there aren't enough TSA agents to get everybody through. They know whose shutdown this is. They know that they are being affected by it. They also know that the White House, that the Senate, that Congress, that parts of the judiciary are all controlled by This is a Republican government right now. This shutdown in every single human being's mind, from Tennessee all the way to, I don't know, to Teaneck, New Jersey, and everyone in between. They all must acknowledge who is responsible for this shutdown and hold them accountable, plain and simple.
You see, Cohen, the part, not what you just said there, but earlier, where I think that the Republican messaging is actually not as effective as perhaps you, but we could debate it, is when they go back to the same bucket for 2024 of, look, this is because Democrats want to fund transgender operations in Peru, and this is because Democrats want to give $1.5 trillion to illegal migrants. Because I think the Republicans are detached from Americans who are getting their health care either from Medicaid, Medicare, or an Affordable Care Act plan. Like members of Congress, they actually have the Cadillac healthcare plans.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump's friends are so rich that an extra $1,000 a month for them to pay healthcare premiums when they're getting massive tax cuts is not an issue that they won't even know the difference. But I just think that in this moment, because Americans actually like Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act plan, sure, are there issues with it and choice of doctor and other things? And yes, there are certainly issues that need to be improved. Do I think our medical system needs massive reform? I think healthcare is a human right, and everybody should have healthcare, and they shouldn't have to pay even what they're paying right now. But lots of people remember what it was like before Obamacare, also known as the Affordable Care Act, when they didn't have insurance and you would just die. And people understand, I think, whoa. If these tax credits actually expire, I'm going to have to pay 80% more per month on my premiums for healthcare. And so that means, just do the math, what it means to pay 80% more of what you're paying.
Sure.
So for lots of people, that could be $1,000 more per month, even if it's, or in a given year, $10,000 more per year or so. People don't have that money. So this isn't, to me, because it's hitting people actually in their pocketbook. I showed on my video I did this morning, Cohen, I showed the coffee from a carton of coffee from January, like $11, to that carton of coffee last month, $21. You can do that with a lot of things right now.
Sure.
And Americans are like, oh man, you're doing like maybe in 2024, you could do the blame transgender people thing, which I still think is despicable, or blame the migrants. But to me, it's not landing, Cohen, the way it did, even though what you are right about is they are disciplined in getting that message out.
Yeah.
They're pushing it. They're pushing it. What do you think about that? What's your pushback there?
I don't have a pushback. I think I think you and I are 100% completely aligned. I think they have a tough message to get out, but like Stalin used to do, the more you repeat the lie, the more they hope that the lie becomes the truth. And that's where we come in. That's where each and every one of us, every one of you brigaders out there, when somebody turns around and tells you, because I heard this shit the other night. I was at a wedding and I could not believe, oh, the fucking Democrats again are going to shut down the government. Really? Seriously? It's the Democrats? Can you please tell me how the Democrats are shutting it down when they don't control the House, they don't control the Senate or the White House? Tell me how this is not Republican-based. Well, that's because the Democrats don't want to give Trump a clean CR. Really? So in other words, that simply they have to go along with it because it benefits you. And this is a pretty wealthy guy that I was talking to. I mean, unless it hits them, Ben, you're 100% correct. They don't care. And the fact that these members of Congress have the greatest health coverage that will not be affected by any of this, honestly, we should make them have the same ACA coverage as everybody else. They're not special. Just because you win a fucking election doesn't make you special. But instead, they are above us all. They're not going to be impacted by their own actions. And what we need more people. Like I said it before, like a Jasmine Crockett, somebody, or like a Josh Shapiro, who talks to you, not at you, doesn't lecture you, but gives you the facts. This is, and I'm going to say it 100 more times, this is a Republican shutdown. And you know what? Unfortunately, it's going to end up harming everybody.
Moments ago in the Oval Office, Donald Trump was asked a question, which is, and this reporter has been doing an excellent job. Sung Kim over at the Associated Press, she's the only one like asking him like serious questions, and you can see why Donald Trump doesn't like the AP. She was the one who asked that, the lady who asked that first question that I showed you. Here she is again, and she says, what I don't understand is, if you brought in all of this money, why do you have to do these layoffs? And if Doge did its work like you claim it did, why are you using the shutdown to do what you claim Doge already did? Watch his response to this. This just happened moments ago.
Oh boy.
Mr. President, as we inch closer to a government shutdown this morning, you said you might do a lot of layoffs. If Doge is already reducing the federal workforce, why is it necessary to link more federal jobs cut to a shutdown?
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down, so when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats. As you know, no country can afford to pay for illegal immigration, health care for everybody that comes into the country, and that's what they're insisting. And obviously I have an obligation to not accept that. That would affect everybody. You know, when I see what we're doing with AI and all the plants that are opening up in the country, $17 trillion is coming. And if you compare that to Biden had in 4 years, less than $1 trillion. We have 17 trillion, more than that. I think it's going to be much more than that, David, by the end of this year. I think it's going to be far over that. It's a record. It's already a record in 8 months.
So just everybody sees it there. And this is,
by the way,
is
is there
why I
even
got
an
him.
answer there? Is there even, Ben, an answer there? Ben, of course, you already know that he's telling the truth, right, Ben? You know that he's telling the truth. Everything that he's saying is 100% correct, right, Ben? Sure. And then he goes right over you. There is no answer there. That's the whole thing. And sadly, can you explain to me, please, why she didn't say, Mr. President, that's not, I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir, but that's not the question, right? Can you just answer the question that I asked? Right, we all know that you're bringing in 17 trillion. So when you bring in 17 trillion, which is more than 50% of the GDP, in fact, it's 3 trillion more than China's GDP. Why do we need layoffs? Why do we need a government shutdown at all? We are so rich thanks to you. Please just tell me, Mr. President, why, and why, without going into how bad Biden is. We all know how bad Biden was, right? How about you just tell us, if we took in 17 trillion, please explain why there's a government shutdown at all.
Or how about even this, Cohen? So where's the money? You keep saying 17 trillion. Where can you just, because you have to, where is it? Because the House appropriators and the budget committee, they don't know where it is, because if they did, they would use it to appropriate. So can you just identify where does it exist? Which account is it in? That's a question that I would ask as a follow-up. And here's the thing. The fact is that for fiscal year that ends in October, that ends tomorrow, we will have run a $2 trillion deficit. It's quirky that our fiscal year ends October, but a $2 trillion deficit. Last month, the deficit was $345 billion on about $650 billion in expenditures. That's the facts, Jack. Now, we can like it. We cannot like it. We can say this is part of a broader plan, but the broader reason why I got involved and left the law job that I liked to do this network and got pulled in this direction, though, has nothing to do with the Democrats, actually. And frankly, it has nothing to do with like Republicans, although issues are framed politically because that's the nature of our system sometimes. For me, I just don't understand at a basic level why Americans from any political party are okay with a Ponzi scheme, with a fraud taking place before their eyes. Does it comfort you, to the Republicans who like this? Does it make you sleep well at night to get fake numbers? I mean, it's very easy for me to go and say to people, hey, giving you 30 million. Okay, wait for it. It's coming your way. I'm giving you 50. It's coming. Wait for it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yeah. No, it's all good. That's not a hard thing to do. And so one of the issues, but it's a lie. And one of the things, though, in the information war, Cohen, that I think you have to address is even where you flood the zone with the truth, sometimes the truth hurts, right? Sometimes the doctor, you gave the example of your father, has to tell you, we found something that's not good, and here's the plan to fix it. Do you then blame the doctor for giving it to you or for causing the ailment? Or do you try to come up with a treatment plan to address it? If the doctor told you, but this is the information disparity, right? You show up to the doctor says, I've got bad news for you, and says you have X, Y, and Z. You leave deeply distressed. You leave panicked. You leave upset. You got the truth. If the doctor says, guess what? Looked at the MRI, you're great. Not only are you great, you are peak physical. Not only that, I've never seen someone who's doing as great as you. Will you leave the doctor upset or happy? Leave the doctor happy. The problem is 3 months later, something really bad may happen to you. So you show back up to the doc. You said I was good. What happened? No. What's happening to me? You know what's happening to you? Then you blame your enemy, right?
It's the podiatrist's fault. You have a hangnail, right?
You're fine. You were doing good, but they did it to you. That's why. So it wasn't you. No. They did it to you. Oh, thank you. I was worried. Just so everybody knows, that's an oversimplification. But even where you flood with the truth, what's not easy to explain to the farmers, what's not easy to explain to the factory workers and the union workers, is that there's a complex system out there that requires interconnectedness internationally The moment I've used the word interconnectedness, Cohen, guess what? I lost him.
Yeah, you did. You know, it's funny because if you watched the Hegseth, again, what pep rally, as they're calling it, there are messages that make perfect sense. They really do. We do want a military who are in shape. No different than you turn around and you want to see police officers who are in shape, who can actually run and catch a perp, as opposed to, and I've seen some of them, completely out of shape. I don't even know how they fit into a uniform. I mean, but there's a system, and I get it. But everything is not supposed to be on a Pete Hegseth, I can do 20 chin-ups method. Okay, we know that you can do chin-ups, Pete. Congratulations. All right. You're talking to a group of people. Can we show that picture one more time? You're not talking to a bunch of 20-year-olds. These are folks at least in their late 40s, 50s, and so on. Now, I'm sure some of them can still do pull-ups, 15, 20 of them. Okay, great. They're now mandating that these high brass military, 1-star, 2-star, 3-star generals need to be in prime physical shape. For what? So that they can do the job? What about their intelligence? What about their years of experience? Something that he clearly does not have, right? They're not saying that these guys got to get onto the battlefield and, God forbid, a soldier gets hurt, got to be able to put him on the shoulder and run a mile in like 6 or 7 minutes. No, right? That's just plain stupid. But this is what they're doing. And they're doing it simply so that they can start to pull people out of the military based upon their, whether we'll call it racist, whether it's sexist, whatever their basis may be. This entire farce that took place, having these folks come in from as far as Australia to listen to this pep rally, which was worse than any rally I've ever heard of a football coach, before, the Wolverines have to beat the Tar Heels. I mean, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I have never seen such stupidity literally put on every single channel from soup to nuts, only then to have the president come out and talk about we need to build more battleships. That's what we need. We need more battleships. Sure, and we should put them all in a straight line so that a drone carrying some missiles can actually knock them all and make them into paperweights at the bottom of the ocean. Our military is functioning just fine. He wants to make them into killing machines. And I'm really not even so sure that that's what our military is designed to be.
You mentioned the battleships that Trump's talking about, right? Last week, pregnant women don't take Tylenol. Pregnant women don't do this. He tells you his own views about hepatitis B and MMRV, all medically inaccurate, not even adjacent to medical literature, just him spouting a bunch of nonsense. This is what he tells to the top generals there. He wants to see battleships that look like the types of ships that were being created in like the late 1800s, 1900s, like even before World War II. And he likes to see, he says, like 6-inch steel, 6-inch solid steel, bulky battleships. And but he's got the military generals there. China's
and did you
watching.
hear about the planes? Did you hear? Boeing came to me. They said, Sir, we want to call it the F-47. And in about 2 seconds, what did I realize? I'm 47. Right? I mean, could you imagine I only wish that we had one of those bubbles that would have been over each of the generals' heads so that we could figure out what the hell that they were thinking. This was such a waste of time, such a waste of money, so dangerous to have all of these generals from around the world in one place.
If you're China, if you're Russia, you could not be more thrilled. You cannot pay for the psychological impact and consequence of what that just did to all of the generals. Like, it is a dream come true for them. Here's Trump talking about the battleships. Here, let's play this clip first.
I think we should maybe start thinking about battleships, by the way. You know, we have a Secretary of the Navy came to me because I look at the Iowa out in California and I look at different ships and the old pictures. I used to watch Victory at Sea. I love Victory at Sea. Look at these admirals. It's got to be your all-time in black and white. And I look at those ships. They came with the destroyers alongside of them, and man, nothing was going to stop. They were 20 deep, and they were in a straight line, and there was nothing going to stop them. And we actually talk about, you know, those ships. Some people would say, no, that's old technology. I don't know. I don't think it's old technology when you look at those guns. But it's something we're actually considering, the concept of battleship. Nice 6-inch sides, solid steel, not aluminum that melts if it looks at a missile coming at it. Starts melting as the missile's about 2 miles away. Now, those ships, they don't make them that way anymore, but you look at it and your secretary likes it, and I'm sort of open to it. And bullets are a lot less expensive than missiles. A lot of reasons. I should take a vote, but I'm afraid to take that vote because I may get voted out on that one. But I tell you, it's something we're seriously considering. There were powers. There were big powers. They were just about as mean and scary as you could be. And so we're looking at that.
There's only one problem, Ben. One drone takes down the whole battleship. See, that's the whole problem. We are in a different type of war these days. I mean, yeah, I know he likes the whole battleship thing. It's great for a movie, but in today's reality, these little drones will sink a battleship.
Yeah, and here's what he says. He doesn't like stealth. Let's play this one clip about not liking stealth.
In the Second World War, they were freighters and different types, but we were doing a ship a day, and now we don't do ships. And I'm not a fan of some of the ships you do. I'm a very aesthetic person, and I don't like some of the ships you're doing aesthetically. They say, oh, it's stealth. I said, that's not stealth. An ugly ship is not necessary in order to say you're stealth. By the way, the B-2 bombers were incredible. That is stealth. They went into that.
And again, then it obviously gets more dangerous from there because he talks about invading American cities in front of the generals and admirals and says the Democrats are the bad guys. Let's talk more about that when we come back. I also do want to talk about this. Just over the weekend, Donald Trump posted, again, this doesn't get much attention anywhere because like, oh, that was just Donald being Donald. He posted that there's secret alien technology from outer space that cures everybody's cancers, and it's called med beds, and that if you go into this MRI-like machine, all of your cancers get cured, and that's his healthcare plan. And he posted an AI video of himself and Lara Trump and Fox talking about med beds. Again, could you imagine if another president posted that? It would be 25th Amendment time immediately.
Who owns MedBed? Barron?
MedBeds.
Yeah, who owns that? Barron? Is that his
alien,
new? I mean, you got Eric now with Trump Vodka. You got Don with the executive branch social club. Maybe Barron owns MedBeds.
By the way, let's not ignore in all of the news that Jared Kushner was behind a $50 billion buyout of Electronic Arts, EA, with Affinity Partners. That's his fund, which is largely funded by the Saudi fund, which is known as the PIF, the PIF. But then PIF, which is the Saudi fund, is the main funder of the Electronic Arts deal. So PIF Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners, which basically means PIF, PIF, and PIF because of who Saudi Arabia gives their money to. So Affinity is a $5 billion fund. $2+ billion comes from the Saudis. So Kushner helped put together the deal because you can get all of the approvals if you run it through Kushner. The Saudis are now owning Electronic Arts, which, by the way, is, they do Grand Theft Auto. They do all the sports games. So now our entertainment's almost fully controlled by the Saudis based on that acquisition. And it's just something that just gets mentioned as a footnote in what went down yesterday. And Kushner, quietly behind the scenes or not so quietly, is doing all of that. All right. Quick break, only break of the show. When we come back, you give the 2-finger salute, talk about more stuff. Good audience today. Just got to keep getting out the information, folks. Accurate data. That's what this is. Accurate data. You may not like it. You may like it. It's accurate. I'm giving you the facts. Cohen's giving you the facts. Let's come right back after this quick break.
You ever try launching a podcast with zero experience? Well, let me tell you something. It's like being tossed into a cage match with a grizzly bear, blindfolded, wearing clown shoes. Because when I started Political Beatdown with Ben, I thought, come on, man, how hard can this be? Script writing, logos, production schedules, ad deals, and don't even get me started on the tech setup. I mean, I feel like I was decoding a damn matrix. Now, if only I had Shopify when I launched this beast. Shopify is the platform behind millions of businesses across the globe, responsible for a whopping 10%. You hear that? 10% of all e-commerce in the United States. And my friends, that's not hype. That's fact. From big names like Mattel and Gymshark to folks just getting their hustle off the ground, Shopify's got their back. I mean, you want a gorgeous online store? Shopify's got hundreds of sleek, ready-to-go templates that make you look like a design god. AI tools? Yeah, they've got those too. Writing your podcast descriptions, jazzing up your images, maybe even making you sound smarter than you are. I mean, not naming names. And you need a marketing squad? Shopify's built-in tools let you hit email, Instagram, TikTok, wherever your customers are scrolling or doom scrolling. And listen, Shopify handles it all. Inventory, returns, international shipping. I mean, they are the ride or die business partner that you never knew you needed. So if you got a big idea or even a little one and you're ready to turn that dream into a reality, head over to shopify.com/beat. That's shopify.com/beat to start your $1 per month trial today. That's Shopify, shopify.com/beat. Not going to lie, I've been cleaning up pretty well on Prize Picks this year. I mean, this week, I'm looking at the board and selecting Josh Allen for more than 270 pass yards. Prize Picks, it's simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players' stats. And if you get your picks right, you could win cash. Play Prize Picks to get action on football in more than 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Prize Pick is the only app that offers stacks, meaning that you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So you want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new Feed tab on Prize Picks. On Prize Picks, how you play, it's up to you. If you want flexibility, choose Flex Play, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the Power Play. So no matter your play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Prize Picks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. So go right now and download the Prize Picks app today and use code BEATDOWN to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code BEATDOwn, BEATDOWN, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Yes, welcome back. This is Political Beatdown. You know, one of the things that I've emphasized a lot on this show and others is there is a way, and it needs to be done, that connects Donald Trump's golden age for himself with the fact that Americans are suffering right now. And Trump is giving us the imagery to be able to make that point. It's like a layup. And to your point, Cohen, Democrats need to see it, whether they see it or not. Americans need to see it, more importantly, in general, because, you know, Trump over the weekend posting, look at all the 24-karat gold all over the White House. Look at it. Look how beautiful. Foreign leaders show up and they're just stunned by all of the gold. Then you have the 90,000 square foot. This is a real post. He goes, they freak out when they see the quality and beauty of this gold. Okay. Then you have Donald Trump talking about the 90,000 square foot golden ballroom. You've got Donald Trump ripping to shreds the Rose Garden and turning it into a private club for rich people. Like, that's in front of our eyes. You have him posting the UFC AI of like what it'll look like when the UFC fights happen in the White House. He's bailing out Argentina. $20 billion of taxpayer money is going to Argentina. We're not bringing in money. We're giving Argentina money while we're running deficits. And then what Argentina do with that money? They immediately then sold their soybeans to China at discounted rates to screw our soybean farmers over. So you've got that going on. So to me, Cohen, you put all of those very visual images, and then you can go into the Trump United Arab Emirates deal and them funding World Liberty Financial, one of his crypto companies, the new Saudi Arabia deal with Trump, another $1 billion for Trump Plaza in Saudi Arabia. You go through all of these things, but then you got to easily make that connection to the American people and say, is it your golden age? Do you have a golden age right now? Or do you wake up and are you rich? Like, is he actually helping you? Or are you like most Americans who are really scared? Am I going to be able to make a
and
rent?
Get even more petrified because soon the checks that you were receiving, whether it's Medicare, Medicaid, SNAPs, whether it's going to be chips, who knows what it's going to be, you're not getting it. That's the whole point. You're not going to be getting it.
And now what's just also about these Republican talking points that they bring is they're like, you know, if there's a shutdown, we're not going to be able to keep your SNAP benefits going. We're trying to be helpful to low-income Americans. SNAP, WIC, Women, Infants, and Children assistance, HUD. Do the Housing and Urban Development website today, like literally read, the radical leftist Democrats are shutting down the services to you. That's what it says on the official Housing and Urban Development website. It's a government website. It's illegal to do that, but the idea of saying it's illegal, every day it's what they do. Every day what they do is that. And then not to mention, Cohen, they then have the ICE agents, these masked agents, just thinking about when the history of this moment will be reported on, when my daughter, who just turned 1, is going to see the movies and the documentaries about this time period where you had masked agents on the street kidnapping human beings based on the color of their skin, sending them into concentration camps. I mean, you see it at that Broadview facility in Chicago. The ICE agents walk out. They have what's called less lethal force, which is still incredibly painful and can be lethal if you're hit with it in the wrong direction. They just start going out, Cohen, and they just start shooting people in their legs. They go out with their less lethal pop, 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 pop. Just to, that's what they do, is shoot people with those rounds.
When you start hearing, for example, Pete Hegseth or even the president of the United States talking to these generals and saying to them, Let me be crystal clear. We are at war, but it is a war from within. You understand what we're talking about here. You're talking about the president and you're talking about the head of the Department of War telling these individuals that you're going to be going into the city, despite the fact that you have the posse comitatus. It's not supposed to take place, but there you are going to have to go in and you're going to have to declare to your soldiers that the country is being invaded from within. I don't even know how bad this is going to ultimately be, how much damage, how much death could potentially be on the horizon. When you have a group of individuals armed to the teeth with these assault rifles coming in packs of 25, packs of 50, coming after U.S. citizens because they don't ascribe to this administration's orders or their dicta. And then all of a sudden, you're in an armed conflict with your military. That I can assure each and every one of you is not what any one of us would call a democracy or a democratic republic. That I could be certain about. And the fact that we have Pete Hegseth, who is leading this charge, who continues, as he did in that hour-long speech, which was fraught with racist undertones, sexist undertones, homophobic, transphobic undertones. As I watched it, I viscerally felt sick. I can't believe that this is actually happening in the United States of America. If you told me that this was happening in Venezuela, I would have said, okay, yeah, I get it. If you told me this was happening in North Korea, absolutely, I would expect nothing less. But the fact that you have the head of the Department of Defense making these types of statements to the highest brass in our country, respected military men and women who have dedicated their lives to protecting this incredibly sacred document. Pete, on behalf of all of the brigaders, on behalf of all of America, even those that right now don't know it, fuck you. You are destroying this country by going along with this Project 2025 game. It's not going to work. I'm telling you, it's going to get real ugly on the streets of America, but no chance in the world is it going to work. And again, Pete, on behalf of everybody, you're a real fucking jerk off.
Here's Donald Trump from that speech letting the generals, or telling the generals, that we are in this war from within, and it's Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that's really what your battlefield is right now. It is American cities that Donald Trump doesn't like. Here, let's play that clip.
What they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. Controlling the physical territory of our border is essential to national security. We can't let these people in.
And so one of the things he's doing there as well is he is seeking a loyalty test there from those generals, which is, I've clearly just said things that violate the Constitution. I've clearly just said things that make it very clear that this is a dictatorship. I've made that very clear. Will you on your own leave? And there was a point when Hegseth was speaking where Hegseth said, if you have a pit in your stomach, that's what he said. If you don't like what we're saying, you should basically leave the military right now and go away.
And
That
we would
was one
thank
of
you. Right. And we would thank you. We would thank you for leaving.
that was one of the real messages behind this, and it had a lot of throwback to July 1979. Saddam Hussein comes into power, assembles all that Ba'ath Party people, very infamous scene, the Ba'ath Party purge, brings them in there. And when I see that photo of the military there, it reminds me a lot of the black and white images. I think they're black and white images of Saddam speaking to those Ba'ath Party people. And remember what he did? He started reading out a list of names. And when your name was read, they went out and back and they shot you. And it's not what Trump's doing here yet. But what he is doing is, I guess I would say this to the brigaders. Do you think that that's what Donald Trump actually wants to do, though, if he could get away with it? Like, do you think that he has the capacity to do what Saddam Hussein did in July 1979? And he's trying to figure out how to get there right now in a way that, see, I think what he thought, Cohen, and this is an optimistic way as we move towards the end of the show. See, I think that Trump thought, if I could combine what I'm doing with what Elon Musk did, those powers aligning with a Musk and Project 2025 combined, that leads to an instant crushing of the American spirit. See, I think as we're approaching October and we're on the precipice of a shutdown right now, I think Trump's view right now is that he would have had full control of everything. All layers, total suppression of the people, that he'd be greeted as a hero when he goes city to city, and that everything would be controlled, a la Nazi Germany, Mussolini, what we've seen in authoritarian Saddam Hussein, full control of everything. One of the saving graces has been our system of federalism, where because America's so big, California is the fourth largest GDP in the world. How do you shut down California, Illinois, Massachusetts, New York, and states? He's trying now, though. That's part of this plan of bringing the military in is to do that. But a part where I'm hopeful, while I share, Cohen, your view that the Democrats as a party, they need to speak to the existential moment of it. And yes, these policy discussions are important, but they need to look in the camera the way Bernie's doing, the way Mamdani's succeeding. And you have to look to the camera. And what you have to be able to say, because you really feel it, is I'm fighting for you. I hear you. I know what you're going through. Here's how we're addressing what's your experience. You have to say it instead of just kind of, you have to go there. But the people, that's why when I think we look at these polls, Michael Cohen, why Americans are blaming Republicans, why Donald Trump's underwater in all of the swing states by now, by not insignificant margins as well. I think the people get it because they're hurting. So the messaging needs to be aligned with that. You gave your two-finger salute. Anything else, Cohen, before we depart and we do more videos on what's going on?
Every single week, and I'm going to say it again now, I can't stress the importance of growing networks like Midas Touch Network, already bigger than Fox, more downloads, more views. But the more, every time one person joins, it's another person out there spreading the message of truth. Because just as soon as we get dulled, just as soon as we get numb, just as soon as we become apathetic because we're tired, what ends up happening? The lie starts to drown the truth. And then there's no way to come back. So we can't. And with your help, we won't. And so with that, I say to each and every one of you, thank you. Thank you for being part of this community, for joining us week in and week out. And we will continue to do as much as we can. And we ask you to help and to do the same.
Everybody hit subscribe here. Perhaps even more importantly, let's get Cohen's YouTube channel at The Michael Cohen Show 1 million subscribers. So search on YouTube, The Michael Cohen Show, subscribe there. Subscribe to the Mea Culpa audio podcast. So if you like audio podcasts and you go, you know what? I want to hear Michael Cohen's voice. I love seeing him on Midas Touch YouTube, but let's hear Michael Cohen's voice only as I go for a walk or if I'm in the car or wherever. You just go subscribe to the Mea Culpa audio podcast and make sure you subscribe as well to Michael Cohen's Substack. Search Michael Cohen on Substack. The growth of Substack in general has been great lately.
At the real Michael Cohen is what it's at.
At the real Michael Cohen, not at the fake Michael Cohen. A lot of fake Michael Cohens.
There is a lot of
fake Michael Cohens out there. All right, everybody. We appreciate you as always. Please hit subscribe here. Michael and I have a busy day. I'm going to be doing a lot more interviews. And remember those Stretch Armstrong toys that I had growing up? I'm going to see how my team can stretch me and see where those arms, where those arms extend today.
You're doing great work, Ben. You and the brothers, keep it up too.
Thank you. And thank you most importantly to you, the Beatdown Brigaders, the Midas Mighty. You make this all possible. We're grateful for you as always. Just get out the truthful messages. We've been putting out videos all day. Use those, share those with people. Facts matter, truth matters, democracy matters. You matter. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Political Beatdown. Shout out Brigaders. Shout out Midas Mighty.